Welcome everyone to day 2 of our 3 days to bigger profits. Find the right product, stop leaving money on the table. You guys getting tired of hearing that phrase, leaving money on? I always try to come up with something new and I just never quite can get the same meaning, and you guys know what that means. So I use it again, but I don't want to wear it out either. So thank you guys for coming here for day 2. I see a lot of you that were here yesterday, and I see some new faces too. So just so you know how this works, there's no chat where it's any back and forth, but there is a question box. And in that question box, you can type questions and comments to me as we go through. Sometimes with GoToWebinar, the little control panel closes up, and there's a little orange button that you have to push to get that open back up to find that question box. Oh, good point. Good point. Yes, I'll stop using it when you stop leaving money on the table. There you go. Oh, that was good. That was very good. All right, so let me just make sure you guys can see my screen. For those who are here for the first time today, just a little tiny bit about me. I am Danny Ackerman, also known as the Danny App, and I have the Danny App Academy, which you might hear me refer to the Appsters throughout the talks today. Those are the members of my academy. I've been a seller on eBay since 1998, aka the good old days, right? I've been an Amazon seller since 2003, and when they started FBA, I jumped in there in 2012. Before that, I've done direct sales, had a big Avon business. Actually caused Avon to change their corporate policy on things that we were allowed to do. They didn't know what to do with me. It was crazy. Have written a few books. Some of you might have seen some of those. Working on a new one. And I'm kind of all over the place. Even got asked by Fox Business News to come on and do a segment, and Bloomberg News and eBay Radio and that kind of thing. So that is me in a nutshell. But enough about me. Let's recap what we went over yesterday. And if you guys have any, major takeaways from yesterday, something you hadn't thought of before, something that you're going to do differently because of yesterday, I would love to hear that. If you could just share that in the question box, that would be awesome. Awesome. So we did a lot of talking about sourcing, and today we're going to spend a little bit more time on research, and but we're still going to talk a little bit about sourcing and recap some of that. So here we go. So some of you are going to raise your prices. Oh, I love that. I love that. I am just really big on raising prices, and we're going to talk a lot more about price tomorrow. But those of you who know me know I'm really big on, if it's not selling, raise your price. Don't lower it. Yay. Ah, you have an Electrolux. Electroluxes sell really good, I just got to say. The video from yesterday and the one from today and the one from tomorrow will all be over on my YouTube channel. If you just look for the Danny app on YouTube, you will find it. The light turned on about multi-channeling. Yay! Multi-channeling it's big. It's different audiences at different venues, so that's great. That right there is going to expand your income. Like the concept of niching customer interests instead of products. Yep, exactly. I love that one too. Love some of you are going to find out what your niche is. Niche is fun. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit more about niche today because that's my thing. And it really is the key, you guys. It's the key to marketing. It is the key to saving time, and it is the key to really knowing your stuff when you're out there sourcing. Bought some $5 items today, working your way up to $20 items. Yay, very good, Teresa. More sensible with prices. Actually lowered a couple. Always good sometimes if stuff's been sitting a while and you've tested the high end, time to maybe test the low end. Yep. You wish Robert had discussed how to be ungated at Amazon. That's really kind of a whole nother subject matter for a webinar. But getting ungated in those categories is not real difficult. And it's a lot of steps to follow and a lot of things to do sometimes, but I'll tell you what I did is I just paid somebody to do it for me. That was the best use of my time, not to try to go figure that out. Yep, yep. Yes, and I have some of my appsters, I've just had to hound them forever, and finally Lisa, one of my long time members, is finally niching. We're going to see how that goes too. That's the fun stuff. We can watch what a difference it makes. Selling consumables on FBA, yay, yay, yay. Gated means there's restricted categories, some areas that you can't sell unless you get approval. We call those gated. So getting ungated means that you get approval in those categories. And some of them are like clothing and shoes and luggage and jewelry and watches and, let's see, groceries, health and beauty, and health and personal. Okay, so with Amazon, we know there's a whole bunch of different ways you can find stuff. There's retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, liquidation sources, wholesalers, manufacturers, lots of different ways to find merchandise. And because there's so many different ways to find merchandise, that means there is a lot of merchandise to deal with. So when you can kind of focus on an area that you want to really just be good at or do replenishables and all that, it really does help to figure out what that focus can be, and you just become really good at that. And then you can always add, once you're really good in one area, you start moving to another one and another one, until, I mean, it comes to a point where you can make buying decisions without an app, without even having to look it up. You just know. You just know because you're doing it over and over again. And then, of course, we did talk about eBay sourcing as well. Now, that's better known for thrift stores and yard sales and auctions and estate sales. And something we didn't really cover yesterday was consignments. And we're going to talk a little more about that today. And in fact, I am bringing on my very special guest and good friend, Dawn Ralston. Many of you know her as Diva Dawn, and she is an organizational genius with her Declutter with Diva Dawn. So she'll be on in just a short while to come and talk about how she does a lot of work with consignment. And she's also really good at researching dinnerware and flatware patterns. So she's going to talk about that as well. I know a lot of you say, like, declutter me, Dawn. I got to tell you, I'm really lucky that Dawn's right down the street from me, and we're friends. So we work together quite a bit, and she's the reason that not only do I have room to move my listed inventory into my garage, but the husband is also parking in there as well. It's a beautiful thing. Couldn't have done it without her. Or maybe I might have been able to do it without her, but it would probably have taken me a year instead of like a week. So that was pretty cool. So eBay, mostly known for, you know, kind of the secondhand goods. But keep in mind, when you are niching and you've developed kind of that genre of stuff that you get from thrift stores and you find at the yard sales and stuff, do not be afraid to go back to some of those retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, you know, wholesalers, and find things that you can buy new and stock in multi-quantity, and also have those in your store. It can be a mix if that fits your customer. Yepper yuppers. And yay, I see Dawn is here. Yes, so Dawn, I will bring you on in just a few minutes. Um, okay, so we also talked about margins and how important they are. Focusing on a niche, of course, higher margins, fast selling, multi-quantity, and raising your ASP. Did you guys all kind of figure out what your ASP was yesterday? That's your average selling price. I know that's one of the areas that can be a little bit eye-opening when you really go and you can go and like on eBay, you can pull your sales reports and it'll show you your average selling price. And you want to really focus on moving that up. All right. So a couple questions coming in here. What is a good ROI on retail arbitrage or wholesale buying? So ROI, return on investment. So that's when we were talking about what is that amount that is going to be worth your time and how much are you valuing your time? You know, for me, I really don't want to make less than 10 bucks an item for sending into Amazon. Now for eBay, I want to make a whole lot more than that. But I'm okay with $10 because I'm usually buying in quantity. So it's not just that one $10, it's multiple $10 on an item. But you really have to decide what your time is worth. You know, are you willing to get paid minimum wage or less, or would you like to really make money at this? Okay. Does using a UPC scanner help much? And Joe, are you referring to at the point at home when you're like listing it or scanning when you're out in the field? Kind of two different things. But yeah, a scanner can make life easier. Okay. Some of you have to check those reports. Right. So those are the things we covered yesterday. And as I said, the recording is over on YouTube to go back, review, and again, ask those questions over on the Danny App Facebook group. Oh, scanning in the field. Scanning is more used for Amazon than it is for eBay. Absolutely. Sometimes I scan something to see what it's selling for on Amazon, even though I know I'm going to be selling it mainly on eBay too. So, but scanners can help you make those buying decisions until you get really, really comfortable with stuff, and then you just start knowing. You start knowing that when you see a cart full of 50% off, you know, I don't know, seasonal stuff at a store, and you've already sold that in the past, bam, you don't need to scan it. You just put it in your cart. That's what I love. So today we are going to talk about research, which is that scanning, which is that making those decisions on is it something that you even want to mess with. As we talked about yesterday, there's a lot of stuff that you just need to leave behind. And think about this, you guys. If it was super duper easy to find highly profitable items, we'd have even more competition, right? So it's already, there's a lot of people out there doing the resale marketing, the retail arbitrage, the online arbitrage. Everybody's kind of jumping into this because it seems easy. And the basic principles are easy, but when it gets a little more complicated is when you do need to stay above the competition and you do need to make more money than, you know, just a couple of dollars an item. I tell you, I know for a fact a lot of your competition out there is losing money on items because they don't know their numbers and they see a payout on Amazon or they see things selling and they're getting paid for it on eBay, but they're not making money. And that is my mission, is that those who follow me, I am going to help steer you towards not falling down that path, but that actually when you make sales, you're making money. Because I don't know about you, but uh, I'm not working this hard for nothing. And I know some of you are working for peanuts. You're working for less than minimum wage by the time you factor in all the time you put into it. And that actually just breaks my heart, just breaks my heart, because it doesn't have to be that way. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today, is researching and knowing which items are going to be better for you, knowing which items are going to make it so you're not making minimum wage, and that you can put more of those things into your store and ultimately into your bank account. Exactly. Then you might as well be a Walmart greeter. Ooh, you could make some cool videos of people and put those out on YouTube though, right? All right. So one of the things I hear is, I've spent hours researching this item and I can't find another one like it anywhere. So I just don't even know how to price it. I see those questions on almost a daily basis. And so I want to talk to you a minute about research. For me, anybody know how much time I spend, the max amount of time I spend researching an item? Anybody want to take a shot? Yeah, some of you know me. 5 minutes, guys. I have a 5-minute rule. Because here's the thing, and this is how I look at it. When I'm listing something and I put in those keywords, I'm going to either get results that I can make a decision based on, or I'm not going to get any results. And if I don't get any results on eBay in either active or solds, then I'm going to go over and I'm going to do a quick Google search. And if I don't get any results on Google search, bam, it's mine to make a price. And at that point, it's when I look at how much I paid. Did similar items come up? Could I take away some of those words in that search that I made that would pull up something that was kind of in the same type of item? What are kind of going prices? How much eye appeal does it have? And knowing my customer, how much do I think they will pay? And then, of course, I have to look at my margins on it. So sometimes I just like name my price. Just name my price and always err on the side of pricing too high. You guys got that one? You can write that one down. Always err on the side of pricing too high, because here's the thing. You can always lower a price. But if you sell something for far less than you could have gotten for it, you can't go back and do it again. So that's my strategy. And I'm going to show you some real examples of this. We're going to do a lot of that tomorrow because I want you guys to bring some items tomorrow that you need some help with, or that you think you might have priced incorrectly one way or the other, and we're going to look at those. So we're going to really dive into that. But I wanted to let you know that that was my strategy. That is my 5-minute rule, is either find one like it, and I want to be in the top 10 percentile of that item. I don't want to be in the lowest, definitely don't want to be in the lowest. And I want to position myself so that Cassini still sees I'm reasonable. Cassini is the eBay search engine. And based on ones that have sold, when I'm doing a sold search, either on my computer or out in the field, I'm sorting by highest first. And as soon as I find one that is sold at a high price, bam, I made my decision. I do not go and look what anybody sold it for cheaper. Because in my opinion, if one person was willing to pay that much for this item out there, there's somebody else willing to pay that much. That sets the market value. Also, what I see is if I list something high, there wasn't, some similar ones listed after. When other sellers come in with a similar item, they're gonna match my pricing or maybe slightly undercut me, which is fine because I've still left lots of margin in there. So that works really, really well. Doesn't take oodles of time because remember that thing we talked about yesterday. Time is so valuable. You can't go back and get it. You can't put it in a savings account. It's gone when it's gone. So that is the most important, valuable resource that you guys have. So don't put a ton into something. Now, if you have something and you really, really think that it's a valuable item and you're really, really squeamish about just setting a price, here's what I do with that. Start it at auction at the price you think is a reasonable price to ask for it. So say you think it's a $500 item, but maybe you're not sure. It could be more valuable than that. Set it at auction starting at $499.95 or $500 even. If it is a really, truly valuable item worth much more than that, you're going to get two people that are going to come along and fight for it. If that is about the market price, you may only get one person that buys at your opening bid. Still, winner. If it's not quite worth $500, that auction may not tell you that. So if it doesn't sell, then that's when I go ahead and I'll put it at fixed price with best offer and see what happens. But I don't lower the price just because it didn't sell on auction. Okay, so keep that in mind. So going back to the idea of a niche, this is what it will do for you. It makes it so that your research takes even less time because you're just going to know the right words, right? So you're going to be gaining that knowledge, that encyclopedia of knowledge in your head about whatever that thing is you're specializing in. And you gain that over time. It doesn't happen overnight. But the more you do research and you're looking up these things, take note, what else around that same item is selling. On Amazon, look at customers who bought this also bought this because those are niche customers there. They're looking towards that same stuff. And just always be putting that stuff in your memory bank so that then when you are out and about, you're looking for those things that go with what that thing is that you're selling. And it's not just the antiques and collectibles. This is whatever you're selling, whether it is car parts, whether it is clothing, shoes, jewelry. There are some amazing niches based on who your customer is, as well as product lines. So you can go either way with your niche. So what niche can really do for you is you become like the specialty store. You get the higher prices, and your customers usually find more than one thing and come back again and again. Anybody remember my story yesterday about how I shop for clothes and how sellers either make a big win with me or they lose out? You remember that? Basically, when I shop for clothes and I find something from a seller, I go in and see what else they have. And if they have more items, I'm gonna buy more. But more often than not, what I find is they don't have another thing that's either, in my size or clothing at all. So if they did, I'd be buying more. So that's what having that niche can do for you. So Trader Joe's, you guys all know, about Trader Joe's. It's a specialty store, right? So do you walk into Trader Joe's expecting to find, cheap organic goods? No, no. See, we know when we go to these specialty stores, we're going to pay more. Oh, my husband, he just rants at me all the time because I love to shop at Whole Foods, same kind of thing. And he goes, oh, you get all that organic stuff and all that gluten-free stuff, and you pay so much money. But you know what? That organic and that gluten-free stuff makes me feel good. I am not buying it because of price shopping. I'm buying it because it makes me feel good. And a lot of times it's impulse buys. If I'm in the specialty store, I mean, I know I'm going to that specialty store to find those things. I do a lot of impulse shopping because everything in that store is appealing to me, right? So here's another example. So how many of you would go into Tiffany and Company expecting to buy a clearance item? Yeah, not so much. You know, they don't do advertising and they don't run sales. They don't have to. They are the creme de la creme of fine jewelry and gifts. You know, they're just known for that. And they're known for that because that's where they niched. And this is an example of a company that niched on who the customer was, appealing to what their customers wanted to fulfill in their life, the emotional buy. You want prestige and you want to be able to brag that something is from Tiffany's. Okay, I've seen some of this Tiffany jewelry, you guys. This is going to be an editorial here, but to me, it is just ugly. It does nothing for me. And I am not Tiffany's customer. You know, number one, I'm way too cheap. And number two, it's not the kind of jewelry I even want to buy. Now, I like the glass. I'll take the Tiffany glass, the old stuff. Not so much the new contemporary stuff. Those little blue boxes, I'm telling you, they've built their brand and they've just done a really, really good job, right? So I wanted to give that to you as an example of what a niche can do. It can have you asking way higher prices and people not only paying them, but coming back for more because they just love it. So here's another way to think of it. So let's think about car dealers. So I'm, say, in the market for a Mercedes-Benz, right? Am I going to go to the Volkswagen dealer? Or if I was at the Mercedes dealership and they were trying to talk me into the used Volkswagen on the lot, do you think I'm going to be interested? Or I'm going in looking for a Mercedes-Benz. I'm at the dealership surrounded by the exact cars that I want to buy. What are the chances I'm going to leave with a car? Pretty darn good. And I guess if you're shopping for Volkswagens, it goes the same way. You go to the Volkswagen place, you're pretty likely you're going to leave with a car, right? You're going to make a purchase. And so that is what having that niche store does for you. So research is important. I don't want to give the idea that I want you just to don't worry about it. So it is important. You need to know your stuff. But what happens, as I said, when you are really specializing in an area or a type of customer and learning the types of things you should be getting, you're going to get really good at starting to pinpoint those things. And a good example of a couple of pickers that do that really well, of course, Mike and Frank from the American Pickers, they know who their customers are. They know if they fill that shop with oil cans, bikes, motorcycles, car memorabilia, you know their stuff. They know from their past experience and who their customer is, how much they're going to be able to pay for something and how much they're going to be able to ask for it. I mean, is there anybody who hasn't watched their show? Because watch it for no other reason than to see how this works. Because they walk onto a property, sometimes just out of the blue, and they start being shown things around, and sometimes these are like hoarder houses with tons of stuff, and they are fine-tuned, focused in on those things they know are going to make them a bunch of money. And that is such a key. It really is such a key. Hey, Linda, that is not a bad idea, is setting a timer on that research, because it is really easy to get carried away on research. It truly is. And again, like tomorrow, bring some of those things. submit them to me, and we're going to go, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to get that research done in a very short time. The name of the show is American Pickers. It's on the History Channel. Lots of repeats. It's probably, you can probably go watch it like on the Hulu or Amazon Prime replay stuff and all that too. Yeah. So, let's see. Should a niche be very narrow, or would it work to combine a couple of things like jewelry and handbags, for example? It can be either or. See, that's the beauty of a niche. A niche can be created by a couple of things. A lot of it is, who is that customer you want to target? Sometimes you can have two different customers you want to target. In the case of Starbucks, they went after the corporate professional and they went after the college student. But what they had appealed to both. So they kind of use that creatively. It can be product driven. You know, it can be, let's say if you want to sell, find an example, like if you want to sell women's dresses, you know, you can either have the niche of dresses and then you have your categories based on style and all that, or you can go after a certain customer of dresses, say that, what is that, like the boho look, I forget, that bohemian kind of free spirit, a certain type of customer. So it can go either way, and you can play with it and you can be creative. The hippie look, yeah, I know that's really like popular right now. Yeah, I don't think they don't call them hippies anymore though. See, I just showed my age again. I think that term is out. All right. So let me see if I can work a little magic here and bring on one of my favorite people, Miss Dawn. So if you guys just hang with me 1 second, let me get Dawn in here. If I can remember how to do this. Let's see if this works. Let's see if I can hear Dawn now. Let me unmute her. I think we can hear Dawn now.
Howdy.
Yay!
Oh, good. It did work.
It did work. So Dawn, I told them a little bit about you before you got on, that you are the reason not only can I move my inventory into the garage, but husband has his car in there too. They're pretty impressed.
Well, Danny, you did all the hard physical and making decisions work. I just helped you figure out what you needed to do.
Yeah, you're so good at that. But what people may not know about you, and I was telling them that, is you're quite the expert on dinnerware and flatware and researching patterns and that kind of thing. So I was hoping that you would share kind of your process in that when you find those things.
Okay. Well, where do you want to start? I know that one of the things that serves me really well is learning from past experience. Sometimes I just have to take a leap of faith. I rarely research anything in the field as far as dinnerware and flatware. I know from experience if it's stainless flatware, for example, and it's not from China or Korea, it's going to sell. Silver plate, not as much, and sterling will go through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to base my acquiring and negotiating based on that kind of knowledge. I know I can break it out into pieces, so I'll kind of do a rough calculation in my head, but I do very little in the field research. My feeling is somebody else could zip in and buy it while I'm fiddling around with my phone.
Exactly.
So a lot of it is trial and error. A lot of it is learning what has a good basis for dinnerware, what are the big name patterns or big name manufacturers that sell well, like Odansk and Villeroy and Bach and some of the really big names, that if I see a set, I immediately go into buy mode.
Mm-hmm.
And I just try and add up the number of pieces that I have that I would be buying and kind of divide what they're asking for that number of pieces and make a decision about what I can pay.
And that's a really good point. So, and I want people to think, don't just think dinnerware sets on this. Think anything that anybody is selling in a quantity. If you're at the auction and you're buying a lot of things, a lot meaning, there's a variety of items in the, they call them an auction lot, or you're at a yard sale and you make a pile, I love that technique. Make a pile and then figure out the price. And kind of just knowing how to just think, okay, I've got 10 pieces here, and I could, even if I paid $2 a piece here, I'm doing really, really good. And know that you can have $20 to spend on that pile or that lot or that set, kind of a thing.
I did something really similar this last weekend. I was buying some Christmas ornaments, and it seemed like the more ornaments I was putting in my pile, the lower the price went.
Mm-hmm.
So what I started off with was a couple of cream of the crop things I was willing to pay $2 to $3 for. And he starts his price out at $5. And then as I'm pawing through the bin, he's going, that'd just be another 50 cents, or, oh, I'll throw that one in. And pretty soon I ended up with the whole bin for $5. And I did come home and I got rid of half of it. A lot of it was junk. A lot of it immediately went in my donation box. But I got all of that for $5. And I was willing to pay $2 to $3 for just two things.
You just brought up another really good point. I'm so glad you did that. And I know these, you guys, these 3 days are kind of overlapping with the topics. We're not just sticking to one topic or another because it all is really, really interrelated. But so good point. So sometimes somebody's going to want you. I mean, I'm a yard sale holder. I love holding yard sales, and that's my thing. When I hold a yard sale, it's to get rid of stuff. So if I see somebody interested in something, I'm like, take them all, take them all. And if you get those opportunities, do it. Take them all. It doesn't mean you have to list them all. It means that the stuff you get to cherry pick out of there, you can list and make money, but you got it at a lower price than if you would have just said, no, I just want these 3. I love that. And it's a tax write-off if you make a donation, or if it's worth maybe sending over to a local auction house, letting them sell it in a lot and make a few bucks. There's different ways with that too.
Exactly. To me, it was a no-brainer buy at that point.
Yep. Don't people know they're not supposed to call you during a webinar?
No.
I know. I always forget to turn my phone off, and then you guys hear my phone moo in the background.
One of the things I do when I get home, though, after I've purchased a set at what I feel is a good price, is that I look at what the big boys are selling it for. Mm-hmm. Just like you do, Danny. The research that I do, I figure sometimes it might take me 10 minutes to find something more than your 5 minutes, because sometimes it's identifying the exact pattern. But if I'm spreading that out over what I'm going to get 20 or 30 listings out of, I'm well under your 5-minute rule.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's a little different because you're not just researching one item. Let's say, so you're buying a set of dishes. Let's say, what's the average amount of pieces, that people are selling sets of dishes in?
Oh, sometimes they're 12 or 20. Sometimes I bought one set of dishes that was 160 pieces. It was place settings for 16 people.
Wow.
I ended up with 32 mugs out of the set. It was amazing. It took me 3 hours just to pack it up to take it home.
Oh my goodness. So, but
it was a good brand name, and I did not hesitate to buy it.
Right, because you knew that the time you were spending doing that was going to be well paid through the sale of all those pieces.
It was. I sold 160 pieces in less than 9 months.
Nice.
That pattern.
Nice.
So that was really good. So it's a matter of coming and researching, finding the really important pieces. I don't need to know the exact name of something other than I need to know the pattern name.
Yeah, so that's
That
really
will really help.
important for what you sell is knowing those pattern names. And you probably have, your go-to sites that you can go and look them up and fairly easily, usually probably, find those items, right?
Exactly.
Hmm.
And once you identify the pattern, another important thing to look at, especially with like dinnerware, is how is it marked? Does it have a pattern name or something else on it? And especially if it doesn't give the pattern name, but maybe it gives a country. So it's really, if somebody has a dinner set, say it was their grandma's, and they want to replace a piece, they may not know the pattern name, but they know what it says on the plate. So it's important that you use those keywords when you're preparing your listing and researching, because that's the only information your buyer might have.
Exactly. And
Or to describe the pattern. Maybe it's blue and yellow flowers, or that it's a Greek key pattern or something. Because sometimes those are the only pieces of information your buyer has, and sometimes they're the only pieces of information you have.
exactly. And we're actually going to talk about that very thing. So I'm so glad you mentioned that because we're definitely coming back to talk more about those which keywords are important when you're listing stuff. Um,
Well, good.
so they're asking, can you just mention a couple of those pattern dinnerware names that are ones they should be looking out for?
Oh, let's see. Well, Dansk, Villeroy and Bach, their NAIF pattern especially, N-A-I-F, that sells for big bucks. The dance pattern that I did so well on with the 160 pieces was actually 4 different patterns that all mixed and matched. And it was a heavy stoneware, very modern. It wasn't old. It wasn't vintage. It was within the last 10 years, but very colorful and bright. Minton, Shelley, some Noritake, some Mikasa, but not always. But things like Christian Dior, some really different names that you don't immediately associate with dinnerware.
I know Lynn Chase is a
Christie,
good one.
oh yeah, that's another great one, as you well know.
I learned that one by accident.
So sometimes, if it looks old-fashioned to you, it's going to be a harder sell. If it looks like something your grandma had in the 50s or 60s with leaves on it or just simple, those aren't big hot sellers right now, unless somebody's inheriting a set from a grandparent and wanting to augment it. But even then, I'm finding that people want solid color plates that maybe accent those to make it more modern.
Yeah, and I want to make a point too, you guys who are asking these questions. Dawn gets top prices for her dinnerware because it is a specialty. If you go to her store, you are going to find, correct me if I am wrong, Dawn, but hundreds of
Uh,
dinnerware pieces.
Probably over 1,000
Yes,
listings for dinnerware alone.
yes. So this is a specialty. She knows how to market to her niche customer on this, and she knows her stuff. She knows which ones to pick up and which will sell. And so let's just be clear. How many duds have you bought along the way?
Oh, plenty. A couple of sets I donated right back in complete whole. Never sold a single piece, especially when I was first starting out and learning.
Yeah, so
Sometimes I'll only sell 2 or 3 pieces from a set and just get my money back. So I've learned to be what to look for and what not to look for. I thought all Noritake or all Mikasa dinnerware was fabulous. No. Some kinds of pieces sell for wonderful money and some don't.
and I know I have been out shopping with Dawn and I can pick up some dishes that I thought, oh, these are really cool, and she can just look at me and go, nope. She's learned, and I'm sure she's learned because she's probably bought them in the past, and they were done.
Exactly. Of course. I can tell you one to absolutely avoid is Gibson. Gibson makes some really cute dishes, but they're super cheap to buy, and most people that buy them bought them because they were cheap to buy, and they're their first set of dishes. When they chip a couple pieces, they don't want more pieces. They just go buy new.
Yeah. I will tell you, though, I still just can't keep myself from buying some of those Gibson dishes, but I'm selling them to the one who is just falls in love with them like I do. I'm not selling them
Yeah.
to somebody who's replacing pieces in their collection. So
Exactly. I
different
will
customers.
always pick up Gibson Coca-Cola and Gibson Mickey Mouse because those do sell.
Yep. Um,
But otherwise, no. But I will buy Gibson flatware.
so Betty's saying, how about serving pieces versus plates and cups? And I know this one. It's like serving pieces always rule.
Yep, serving pieces are gold. You want, and not cream and sugar and that kind of serving pieces. You want gravy boats. You want vegetable dishes. You want platters. Teacups and saucers, if you sell them, you're lucky. So if your set that you're buying is heavy on teacups and saucers, I've learned you don't even count those when you're calculating the price you're willing to pay in your head. Because they're like, if I sell them, that's gravy, but they probably won't sell.
Yep.
But
Awesome.
butter dishes, salt and pepper, gravy boats, those are the holy grail of dinner sets. Those are the pieces you want a soup tureen.
So the other thing I wanted to touch on with you that I know you have done quite a bit of is consignment sourcing.
Yes.
Yeah, and I get that tone in your voice because one of the reasons I didn't talk about it yesterday is not one of my favorite things to do because you guys know how much work it is to sell this stuff. You've got to photo it and research it and ship it when it sells, and then you're going to give up a large chunk of what it sells to a consigner. But I do want to touch on it because there's a lot of people getting started who don't have money for really nice inventory, and this can be one of the ways you can acquire some very nice inventory within your niche without having to put out any money for it. So can you talk a little bit about consignment and what that looks like for you?
Well, I don't do a lot of it. I did when I was first starting out because I was just happy to get some inventory that wasn't costing me any money. And I got to experiment with a lot of different niches. I had one consignment client that worked for a receiving company down by the convention center here in Las Vegas. So when the conventions would leave, sometimes people wouldn't pick their stuff up. And after a certain period of time, it belongs to the company, and they let their employees have it. So he would bring me the oddest stuff. One time I got shoes and jewelry and medical arm braces. And there's that phone again. So it was a very eclectic kind of thing. So I got shower heads and, all different kinds of things. So I got to experiment with a lot of different niches. So it was a great way to do that, to figure out what kind of things sell and what didn't when I was first starting out. Recently I did a big consignment of someone that had tons and tons of collectibles. And it was really interesting for me because I learned about so many more types of collectibles and things that I had no clue about. And I found myself being a lot braver with my pricing. I found that, okay, yeah, if I had bought this for $1 or $2 at a garage sale, I might have charged $39. But because I knew I was splitting the money with my consignor, I was putting $59 on it. And you know what? It was selling at $59. So that gave me a whole nother way of looking at my inventory. Just because I spent $1 or $2 doesn't mean I can't list mine for $59. It really had me re-looking at how I'm doing things. So I thought that was really interesting.
Excellent, excellent. And there's some questions coming in about contracts and that kind of thing. So, we'll just touch on it for a minute. The contract that you have between you and a potential consigner is, it's totally up to you, but a pretty average rule of thumb is somewhere with a commission between 30 and 50% is what you get for selling the items. So
I'm sorry, what, Danny?
I'm talking about the contracts. So, I do 50%. For me to take a consigned item, it's got to be a 50-50, and it's got to be an item that's worth over $100.
I work a little differently. I do 50-50. I pay the fees.
Mm-hmm.
If it's free shipping, I take the shipping off the top and then divide it 50-50. And I'm willing to do it for things that are priced less as long as there's a bunch of them. So for example, this last consignment I had leather postcards.
Hmm.
I'd never seen a leather postcard before. Now I have 25 of them. And so my feeling was, well, I don't mind doing that because although they're going to sell $20 to $30 a piece, that's just sell similar, sell similar, sell similar. I can do my basic research about leather postcards and then just go to town.
Yep.
So I don't mind doing that, but doing consignment work does involve being a little picky about what you take and a little picky about doing the record keeping right away. The minute I would list something or unpack something, it had to go on a spreadsheet. And the minute it sells, it has to go on a sheet for my consignor so that I know I need to pay them for it.
Yeah, and
Because
for those that don't know, you are, of course, you are the queen of organization. So, you know, I scribble it somewhere, and Dawn's got me much more organized these days. But so if anybody wants to know anything they need, systems or how to keep track of things and inventory management, like, you really need to be following Dawn.
Well, thank you, Danny.
Get on Dawn's.
Believe me, it's trial and error because if I get too far behind with something, I feel lost. So I like to stay on top of things.
And you do an awesome job with it.
Well, thank you.
Oh, they want to know, how do they find you?
Well, you can find me at declutterwithdivaDawn.com. That's the organizing business. And then I'm Diva Dawn LV on eBay, Pinterest, and Facebook.
Awesome, awesome. And real quick, before I let you go, do you sell on Amazon, Dawn?
I sell nothing on Amazon right now.
So we're going to have that changed soon.
Yes, I do have it in my plan for later in the year. My first move is going to be onto Etsy because I feel that what I already have will transfer to Etsy much simpler.
Yep.
And then I'm looking at, towards the end of the summer, being on Amazon.
Awesome. Well, and speaking of Amazon, we're going to jump into that next. Thank you so much for coming on. Now we can let you go and see who was so desperately trying to get a hold of you on the phone.
I know. I can't believe it. It doesn't ring all day.
Of course. It only rings, you know, when I'm not doing a webinar because I'm the one who calls you all the time. Oh, thank you, Dawn,
for talking
so
with me, Danny.
much. And maybe you could stick around in case we get some other questions toward the end.
Be happy to.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Oops. Didn't mean to cut her off like that. So, and they're saying thank you too. So speaking of Amazon, let's jump back into some research as it pertains to Amazon. So there's a lot of talk about apps used, you know, scanning apps, and yes, there's a bunch of apps. But the one I'm going to really focus on today, because this is all about research and having information to make a decision. So you can get everything you need to make your buying decisions from the Amazon Seller app, which is a free app. It's for Droid and iPhones. It is the main one that I use when I am scanning out in the field. I will tell you, though, I am moving to a company called Inventory Lab, and they have a mobile app that I'm definitely going to be checking out because it comes with using their software. And I'm really excited about starting to get my stuff into Inventory Lab. I met the people behind the product and really, really like them. So that's something I'll be doing, probably holding a webinar on that later and show you how that goes. But for now, I'm going to show you about the Amazon Seller app because I like free, and I like, for anybody who's just like getting into this and starting out, free is good, right? So let me show you. I took some actual screenshots from my phone so you can see what it looks like. So let's go here. So this is the very first. When you open the screen for the app, of course, you won't have this little stuff on top here. That's because, let's see, I had an offer, and then my son's mind build was updating. So little bit different icons there. Now, I have a Droid, so I don't know if the iPhone looks just a little bit different. Oh, definitely, if you do not have a smartphone, you got to get a smartphone. Oh, my goodness, a smartphone is going to make you so much money in this business, okay? So you can start here. You can either scan the item, the UPC code, or you just type in what the item is you're looking for. In this case, I just happened to grab something that was nearby, and I typed in first. So a couple different results. So I typed in Disney Princess alarm clock, and I got some results. And the neat thing is it's going to show you the picture so you can match it to what you have, and the rank. Now, rank on Amazon is an indication of how well an item is selling. Generally speaking, the lower the rank, the better it's selling. Different categories have different standards of what's considered a good rank. For instance, in toys and games, anything under about 100,000 is a good rank. Anything under 5,000, and you can buy that for a good price, pick it up. um, I can tell you that I don't know off the top of my head what are good ranks in some of the other categories, but I will tell you, a rank is one of the least things that I pay attention to because there's a lot of factors that go into it. It could be that they are there hasn't been any FBA sellers, so they haven't really sold. It could be that you're buying this in the summer and these really sell better in the winter, and that's when the rank goes up. So there's a lot of factors in the whole rank thing. So I do not let rank really make my buying decision. What makes my buying decisions is the margins, and on Amazon, whether or not there is a listing that I can just come in on and send into. So let me just show you then what happened. So this is when I actually scanned the UPC of the item. So it pulls me up the page that shows here's the current buy box information. Buy box meaning whichever seller is showing up as the one in the main header on Amazon, that when somebody just hits click to buy, it's theirs that's selling. Do you have to sell on Amazon in order to get the Amazon seller app? You know what, Patricia, that's a good question. I don't think so. And there is a regular Amazon app. There's actually a ton of Amazon apps, like a price checker and all these other ones. This one happens to be called the Amazon seller app, and then there is just a regular Amazon app. But that one doesn't give you the rank without digging a little deeper. So that's why I like this one. So in this case, this clock is showing as $19.64. And if you're selling this FBA, there's going to be $6.61 in fees at this price for a gross proceeds of $13.03. This also shows me that Amazon is not selling this item. Now that is something I do look at. Amazon sells a lot of stuff themselves. It is very hard to compete with Amazon because guess what? More likely than not, they bought it a lot cheaper than you can get it, and they can play that price game all day long to sell theirs. So I tend to stay away from things that Amazon themselves is selling. It shows that there are 6 FBA offers that start at $19.64. So then, I believe my next screen, yep, here we go. So now you can go over to the next screen, and let me just show you how I got there on the phone. So you just click on the button here to go and we'll pretend like I did. And it's going to show you, here's ones that are seller fulfilled, also known as merchant fulfilled. And the low price for merchant fulfilled is $14.65, and they get a $4.99 credit. So the buyer has to pay $4.99 shipping, which they send that to the seller. So that total price is $19.64 on this, with $3.69 in fees. Lower fees, but then you have to do the work. So if we go over and look at Amazon fulfilled. Oop, and looks like that cut off ever so slightly. I'm still getting used to this how to take a screenshot on my phone thing, and I think sometimes I'm just a little bit too frantic. So this is going to show you the low price, 1964, the fees, 661, net proceeds, 1303. Now what's really cool about this app is I can put in my particulars. So I put in $1 shipping to Amazon, and that's just a general default amount that I put per item that covers all the costs of the box, if it had to get a bag or bubble wrap or something, the label, and of course a little bit for my time. So now I can put how much I pay or could pay for this item. In this case, it was $2. That shows if I'm selling it at this price, my net profit is going to be $10.03. I'm like, okay, I can do that. I like $10. But wait a minute. When I click over to see how the actual offers pan out on this, so the lowest offer here is 1964, and there's somebody else at 1964, and then 1965. Notice I'm not there. So, by the way, this is me on Amazon. I am not down there at that low price. What I am waiting for is for these 4 sellers to sell out. Because when these 4 sellers sell out, then mine becomes positioned as the one to buy. So I'm perfectly fine sitting on this a little bit, knowing that it's an item that's going to do better at Christmas time. And I can always go down on price. I can't go back up once I've sold it at the cheap price. So if it's something that I just sent in and I'm going to kind of wait and see what happens, I'll price about in the middle. I want to show up on the first little page of sellers selling this. I don't want to be at the top 10% like I am on eBay, but I will play with the price a little bit on Amazon. So the $2 investment gave me a lot of wiggle room. I can definitely come down to 1964 if need be. I can even come down a little cheaper than that if need be. So that's why this was a good purchase for me to make. So some of you are downloading that Amazon seller app. It does require an active seller account to use the program. Thank you for that, Cheryl. There, now we got that question answered for Patricia. When I do FBA, does Amazon pay for it to be shipped to them and then charge you when they ship it out? So the way that works is, number one, you get to use their phenomenally low UPS rates to ship stuff in. So for instance, I think I've shipped like 10-pound boxes for around $4 or $5, and they had like 20 items in them. So it's really a cool thing. So what they do is they charge your seller account, and then that comes off of your balance, and then they do the math and the accounting, and then your payout is minus that amount. I don't know how many clocks these sellers have in stock. My guess is that they are retail arbitrageurs like myself, and they probably don't have more than, 4 or 5, if that, each. So again, I may sit on this a while, but here's the other beautiful thing is I can list this on eBay at the same time, and I can list it on eBay for the $25 range with the free ship and the best offer. And if I get a decent amount offer, I'll just have Amazon fulfill this to my customer. So I don't really have to worry about whether it sells on Amazon itself. I can be listing it multi-channel, and if it sells, Amazon will still fulfill it for me. It's a beautiful thing. Lisa, you're saying yours shows 562 fees with FBA. That's a really good question. Maybe it's location specific based on where it's at. Good question, though. Oh, I love, multi-channel fulfillments. That's a whole nother topic, but oh yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So the Amazon Seller app, when you're out in the field, and this is a very fast process, you guys. Let me just kind of take you back through that. And so basically, start here. I scanned the item. It comes up. I'll skip that. It comes up. Here it is. First thing, I glance and I go, Right here, I've pretty much already made my decision. I've already decided that I can buy these for $2. There's enough wiggle room in $13 of gross proceeds that I'm going to scoop them up. I stopped there. That took me literally 30 seconds to make that decision. If I needed to dig deeper and go in, I look at the Amazon fulfilled and yeah, I'm like, okay, yep, I'm still good. All right. Worst case, I'm looking at this going, yep, I'm good. Okay, so it really, don't make this a long, drawn-out process. Remember, time is money. Every minute you are spending on research in the field is still money that's coming out of your pocket because it's not time you're spending maybe moving on to that next really profitable item or getting the stuff home and getting it listed. Okay, so time is money is like one of my most favoritist sayings. And that's true. Okay, I mean, you can find out how many units a seller has if you really, really want to dig into that. You go to Amazon and you go like you're going to place an order. You put them in your cart, put 999 units, and it'll tell you how many can be fulfilled. I don't do that. I just don't do that because for me, it's not worth the time. I can buy this at such a good price, and if I need to, I can sell this for $15 and still not lose money. So the buying decision was made right when I saw what the price was going for versus what I could pick them up for. Oh, that's true. Thank you, Janelle. The app shows different fees depending on whether you have the Pro Seller account, which you pay $40 a month for, or you don't have that. That's exactly where that dollar discrepancy came in. Very, very good figuring that out. So, there's a lot of things about Amazon. You remember, here's another, like a big, big, big. This comes from someone saying if you multi-channel, it could be harmful to your listings, or buyers tend to leave lower feedback. I do not worry about those things, number one, because those things happen so few and far between. Most customers buy something, they want it to arrive in a timely fashion, and they want it to be what they thought they were getting. Those two things are fulfilled, and then you have a happy customer, and then you can do follow-up. If it's something that's fulfilled by Amazon to your eBay customer, follow up with your eBay customer so that you are the last experience they remember. The experience of getting the package, opening, whatever, they probably just don't even remember who they bought it from. But then you doing that follow-up, reminding them they got it from you. If it's an expensive item, pick up the phone, check on them, customer service. You will have a very happy customer that remembers them that they got it from you. Okay? Run the business like a business. Remember, guys, it's all about running like a business, which is going to make you the money like a business, as opposed to worrying about every little thing with every little piece of a transaction. Is it harmful to end your eBay listing if you sell it somewhere else? Nope. Nope. I end listings all the time. All the time. Okay. So there are risks. There are risks in anything you do, but we have to make those calculated decisions. And I can tell you today versus 17 years ago when online selling started, you have so much more information and so much more available to you to make those smart decisions. It is mind-blowing how much you can do. Okay, so I had to throw a little joke on there. Fly, you guys. Grow those wings and fly. And here's the other thing. If if the data that comes back doesn't give you a real good go for it feeling, there is no shame in walking away from something, okay? No shame in walking away from something, but if that little birdie is telling you, yes, 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 this could be good, take the chance. Go for it, okay? Don't walk away from things that are kind of everything in your gut is telling you you should do it, even if the information you couldn't find, or you got to kind of sometimes just go with that sixth sense. So now let's talk about, oh, one more thing about Amazon. So I tried to find like a screenshot of the Flow app. This is the best I could find. So on the regular Amazon mobile app, there is something called Flow. Flow is amazing. It's amazing. Basically, it works on image recognition, and this is what I use when I'm sourcing books. I can go through an entire shelf of books in minutes using this app. Simply pull the book out, hold it up, it scans it with the little image recognition, and it gives me what it's selling for. It pulls it up. So my criteria is that if it comes back as having them for sale for at least $15, I'll put it in a check further pile. If it comes back selling for more than 50, that goes in, I don't even go look further. That just goes in the cart. Sorry, guys. Coughing fit coming on. Okay, love mute buttons. So I literally go through a shelf and I just weed through and find the ones that are 15 plus and 50 plus. And believe me, there's actually still a lot of those out there. So I can do that really, really quick with this Flow app. Haven't found another app that I can do that with. And it really works best for media items, not so much for like toys and that kind of stuff. It still doesn't have all of those recognized. So this is really an app to use on book research. Try it in your personal bookshelf. It's a blast. eBay. Let's talk about eBay. I talked a little bit about how I research on eBay. And basically, it is the process of, on the eBay mobile app, that is an awesome thing. You simply search for the item, put in some keywords. Now, here's the thing that I see a lot of sellers doing too much of. Putting in too many words. Don't put too many words, okay? Use the very basics of what you know about an item. What is it made of? If it has a maker or an artist or some sort of a name on it, use that. And a color, depending on what it is, okay? Maybe, maybe not. Go with that. Pull up your initial search findings. Sort by highest first. Then go to refine. I don't have screenshots of this. I apologize, you guys. So I'm kind of like trying to, because this one I know I can visualize it in my head. I can probably add some screenshots tomorrow if you guys want. So refine and then sort by just solds. And if you look on that list and see one, doesn't necessarily have to be exactly the same, but if it is similar, go with it. Look at the price they got, and here's something else you want to keep in mind. Now, if you've worked on your niche and you are niched and that seller is not, know that you're going to at least get that price or better, okay? So I just look at sold. I don't look at just completed. I look at what is sold, and it'll show me only the ones that have sold. And again, I'm just looking for something in the same market. It doesn't have to be exact for me. And I think that's what happens a lot of times is you're looking for something too specific and then nothing comes up. So just look for something in the same realm of what it is you're selling. When you're doing like clothing, for instance, um, and you can't find, you've got a maker and you know what it is, but you can't find that exact one. So you want to look, okay, well, how well did this maker, this designer do in general? Are they in the $20 range, or is everything they've got up in like the, $100 range? That's important to know, okay? So those are how I make my eBay buying decisions. That's one of the ways to make my eBay buying decisions. It's the eBay mobile app. So if you go to your Play Store, I forget, what do they call it? I'm not an Apple person, so I never know what the Apple terminology is. But wherever you go in, download apps, just look for eBay, and it'll come up. iTunes. There we go. iTunes. So those who have done a shopping trip with me, here is my number one criteria. I don't care who it is you're selling to or what you're selling. I appeal. I appeal. Think about it, guys. It can be the best item in the world. And if you're in person, you can pick it up and you can smell it and you can feel it and you can attach all your senses to it. But if you're selling something off of a picture, it is all about striking something in that potential buyer with an emotion which has to do with eye appeal. It is my absolute first rule of thumb. And that is a lot of how I shop. I will go down an aisle and just, if something grabs me and like says, pick me up, I will pick it up. Even if I don't think it's something expensive or old or whatever, if it's just really got a look to it that says, you know what, somebody would like this, if they saw it in a picture, I will give those things a look. And then I look a little closer. Does it have a name? What is it made of? Okay, I pick it up and it feels cheap. And like, yeah, I'm going to have a disappointed customer. But if I pick it up and go, this has a nice feel to it. This has got some nice detail to it. And it may be a no name, nothing. But if it's got a good look, I have a customer who will buy that. Same goes for clothing and shoes. Okay, ladies, come on, confess. I am actually addicted to buying shoes. I can't wear half the ones I buy, which is really funny. I want to. I think about how fun they would be to buy. But I love shopping for shoes based on what I think they're going to look like on me. So if they've got a really good look to them, they look super cute, oh my gosh, I'm buying them. And there's a lot of people that shop that way with clothing and shoes. And Misha's asking me, what size shoes do I wear? Hey, I wear size 8, so really easy to source shoes for me. But a lot of competition. There's a lot of size 8s out there. But really, you guys, this has worked so well for me over the years, is thinking about first who your customer is and what appeals to them. And that's another reason niche works so very, very well, is because when you have things that are eye appealing to a certain customer, bam, now they go in your store and they've got this, it's like eye candy. They like everything, and that goes into emotional buying. These are the customers we want. Sure, there's the consumables. I mean, we all need toilet paper and paper towels, right? We're always going to be buying food. But even within food and grocery and that type of stuff, there are emotional niches. And I mentioned it earlier. You've got, the specialty foods, the specialty teas, the prestigious, name brand stuff. Okay, that's more emotional buying. Emotion is what makes people spend more money. Anytime you can hit on emotion, it no longer becomes about the price. People will figure out what credit card they can put it on if they just fall in love with something that they see, okay? And niche helps the possibility of getting that right buyer to buy that thing, whatever that thing is, that you're listing. Second is the keywords, and we were touching on this a little bit earlier. So it is important to know what keywords those customers are tuning into to actually get your stuff to show up on the page. When I'm out searching for things and sourcing, I'm always thinking in my head when I pick something up, what title stuff can I come up with? If 4 to 5 words don't just jump at me, it's probably not going to be worth spending time on. I really need to have 4 to 5 good words that are going to help me not only research it and only spend that 5 minutes, but have the customers come and find it. So, and this is where having a niche can really be fun too. So once you've got those 4 to 5 words, now you can play with other words that can give you a higher price and niche to your customer. And just for an example, things like shabby chic, which you can't use in that order. You have to break it up and not use the trademark shabby chic. But there are people that put shabby chic in, and if you have shabby at the beginning and chic at the end, you're going to pick up those customers. Gothic, steampunk, designer, all different types of buyers, sometimes even putting sexy, romantic, flirty. Those are certain words that appeal to a certain type of customer, and those can get you more money. So anytime you can use those kind of words, those kind of keywords with an item, all the better. This works really well in clothing and shoes too. I I tend to, gosh, I'm giving away all my little inside stuff here. When I'm looking for shoes, I tend to find I can narrow in on ones that are really super cute by putting in the word sexy. I put sexy shoes, Not that I'm necessarily looking for sexy shoes, but I have found by putting that in, I come up with the kind of shoes that I'm looking for. Okay, so different buyers looking for different thing. What need are they trying to fill? For me, it's wishing I could still wear 3-inch high heels that I can't anymore, but I still love them. You can also look at what the big retailers are using. What trend words are they using? So if you are a store that sells designer goods like Nordstrom's, go see what they're using. What terms are they using for their stuff? You can copy the big guys. They are spending tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on market research, and you can play off of that. And use those words then. I know we're kind of getting off of, the research topic, but you can use those words when you're blogging and social media and marketing your items. So always think of that, though, when you're sourcing and then when you're doing your research, and find those words that are specifically words that will set you out amongst the competition crowd. So it goes back to, I'm a big, 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 big fan. The niche is what is really going to save you time. It's going to get you higher prices. It's going to make you more money in your business. That's why I just kind of harp on that one a lot. And it makes it so that you are your own boss. You want to be the CEO of your company. You want to be the decision maker, all that good stuff. And I can tell you, it is a lot more fun and motivating to be looking for and working with items either you have an interest in yourself or are going to sell great. You're just like motivated to get them listed because as soon as you get them listed, they're going to start selling, or you already got like a blog post in your head or some cool Facebook articles you can write. That really takes the work out of the work, and it'll make you more productive. And time is a big issue. I feel like I just say this stuff over and over, but it really is. And so it doesn't feel like you're spending as much time on the stuff if you really love what it is you're selling too. I love selling stuff that people love. So we're going to get to questions. Robert talked about this yesterday, so I figured I better let you know what that was about. I do these things called Day with Danny's. I go all over the country. So I have gone, Florida and Philadelphia and Atlanta and gosh, Chicago, everywhere. I go everywhere, you guys. And I'm really going everywhere this year. And I'm doing something different this year. What I found last year was that we'd go do these one-day shopping sourcing trips, and I'd find out 6 months later, people still didn't have the stuff listed. And I don't want any e-hoarding on my conscience. So this year, the Day with Danny tour is the sourcing day, and we're making it a 2-day event so that the next day we will get together classroom style and get the items listed, researched, priced for max profits. We will go over a lot of, what we've been talking about the last couple of days and what we're going to talk about tomorrow. So it's really going to be, you're going to get your investment back almost immediately. Okay, so I am going to have more about that tomorrow. For those who've spent the 3 days with me, I have something super duper special just for you. And I will announce that tomorrow, but I'm going to cough. Sorry, guys. Woo! I get so excited, and then the cough comes on. So I have something for you tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. I have, a website over at daywithdanny.com, but don't sign up. Do not sign up until you hear what I have to say. But you can see some of the cities and some of the approximate dates that I have planned for being those if you want to go look at that information now. So let's do some question time. And Dawn is still with us too, so if anybody has specifically a question for Dawn, I can bring her back on. So just put that in your, a lot of you are saying, Denver, Denver. Yes, Denver is on my schedule, but you guys got to melt the snow first. gotta melt the snow. Okay. Oh, right. Oh, Holly, that's exciting. She says she just downloaded the Amazon seller app, and the first thing it showed her was the money she made with her first Amazon sale today. Woot, woot. I love that. I love that. Ohio. Yeah, you know what? Ohio is definitely a possibility, especially since you are the glass capital of America. I have always wanted to go to Ohio. So, yeah, here's the thing. I'll go anywhere, you guys, as long as there's 5 people interested. That's it. Just 5 people. That's it. Let's see. Okay, you guys are asking, questions are coming in hot and heavy here. I've got Dallas and Houston on the target so far. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Let me find questions. Lots of stuff coming in here. What's the fastest way to learn to ID glass, antiques, etc.? I go to sales and don't even know what I'm looking at. So it really goes back, and Jennifer, you have a good eye. Number one, I already know, Jennifer's one of my appsters, and you have a good eye. Trust that eye. Really, really go off of that eye appeal and what you really fall in love with when you're out at those sales. You won't go wrong. And I can say that with confidence because I have seen the stuff you buy. So the other thing is, as you buy a piece or two, do a little bit more calculated risk-taking. Do the search and know that if you're buying it at a good price, go ahead and buy it. And maybe spend a little more than that 5 minutes as you're getting to know the things. Now, I have some favorite glass books that I've used over the years. I don't refer to them as much anymore as I used to, but they are the Florence Glassware Pattern Identification. There's a set of 4. There's 4 volumes, and I've used those things so much, the bindings coming undone, because every time I would go search for a particular piece, I'm seeing other things going, oh, I've seen that before. Oh, I've seen that before. And then I'll go and do a quick search and see if that was something that I should have bought. Sometimes if you don't buy something, take notes of what it was, come back and do the research and, you know, look at, was it something that you should have trusted your gut? A lot of you, I bet your gut is telling you, oh man, I should buy this, and you're passing it by because it's either, you know, too expensive or something. Research those pieces because you may find that when you are passing by something for $20, that could be a $100 item. So it's all relative. You know, things that are priced a little higher are probably going to sell for a lot higher and those higher margins. So Jennifer, does that kind of answer your question? Or really I would say with you though is go with your gut because you really have a really good eye for things. And then it's all about just getting it for the right price. Yeah. I see flatware, silver, or other sets and cases at estate sales frequently. I'm often tempted to buy it, but don't know what I'm buying. Are those good things to buy, generally speaking? You know what? I'm going to bring Dawn back on for that one. Hey, Dawn, did you hear the question?
I did. I would say first thing, look at the silverware. Is it silver plated? Is it stainless? Is it sterling? They sell in, sterling sells usually for melt value. Stainless is the hot buy right now, and silver plate is okay. So you would want to pay, in that order, you'd pay more for sterling, a little less for stainless, and a little less for silver plate. The real trick is, are they in one of those silverware boxes? If you have a silverware box that's in decent shape, you can get anywhere from $49 to $99 for the box all by itself.
Oh, I didn't know that.
If you can get your money back for the box, then any piece of silverware you sell is gravy.
Nice.
So, and yeah, and then look and see if it's a brand. You really don't want anything made in China or made in Korea. But Japan is good, U.S. is good, England is good. Even I've had some from Colombia, and that
What's
sold
my computer
well.
doing?
Avoid China and Korea.
You didn't see that because I had my little screen frozen, but my computer's trying to throw fits on me right now.
Uh-oh.
It's okay. We're almost done. It's just got to hold out a little while longer.
So does that answer that fully?
Somebody said they saw 2 boxes at Goodwill last week, passed them by. What about the gold color of silverware?
The gold color is not as popular. So you're going to have to make bigger lots and sell them for a little bit less. Sometimes it makes sense to sell those as a set, like a place setting for 4, like 4 knives, 4 forks, 4 spoons. But if it's if it's a good quality gold color, then certainly look at it if it's a reasonable price. But that would be even lower on my price scale.
Awesome. I think that answers the question.
But again, if you can get the box, and you can buy the whole set for less than you're going to get for the box, then every piece of silverware you sell is profit.
You know, see, I just learned something. I'm not really a big silverware seller. It's not one of the things that I enjoy dealing with, but I'll definitely be taking better note of things in those boxes because I see those at the auction all the time, and they go really cheap.
You best be buying those for me then.
I exactly. Yeah, awesome. Any other questions? I know we ran way over today. I know there's some questions about the day with Danny. I promise we will cover those in detail tomorrow. And as I said, I'm going to have something really, really special for you guys that have been here and put in the time because you know how much I value time. So stay tuned for that. Dawn, do you declutter a space on the phone or in person?
I can help you do both, either way.
There you go.
It's whatever you need.
So yeah, there's a lot of research apps out there. There's Camel is one that can help you with Amazon stuff. Terapeak, WorthPoint. Here's the thing with Amazon stuff, you guys. It's really, really, really about current market value. I, and I'm telling you, retail stores are not going back and looking at what they sold something for 2 years ago. They are looking at customer demand today. They are looking at current selling prices today. And I really want to encourage you guys not to worry about what something sold for 3 years ago. Go off what things are, how it pertains to how much you can purchase it for or purchased it for, and the value it brings to the marketplace. Okay? Again, I've seen things that say sold on one of the research apps like Terapeak or WorthPoint that you have to pay for, and somebody makes a pricing decision because 3 years ago it sold for $200, and so they listed it for $200, where in fact they may very well have been able to get $500 for it in today's market. So really use your best judgment on who your customer is. If nobody else has an item and it was worth $200, a couple of years ago, holy smokes, I'm pricing those things through the roof, because it's no longer about price searching for somebody. It is about, oh my gosh, somebody finally listed one of those. And, do I have $500 on my credit card that I can buy it with? Okay. Let's see. What research apps to use in the field or when home researching? So as I showed, I use the Amazon Seller app and I use the eBay mobile app in the field. That's it. At home, when I'm listing on eBay, I'm just doing a completed, a sold items list versus how many are available and at what price. I don't go to a bunch of other apps for that. So they're really interested in your decluttering. It says, do you declutter my space as well as my inventory filing system?
Oh, we can work on all of that.
Yeah, I can tell you for a fact she does.
I am happy to help you with all of that.
Oh, and
drop me a line.
And I just got
Dawn at declutterwithdivaDawn.com.
Say that again because I was talking over you.
Oh, sorry. Dawn at declutterwithdivaDawn.com.
There you go.
And we'll talk.
All right. Do I use the Profit Predictor app? So I do have an app that was developed based on the way that I research and price things. So yes and no. Sometimes I do. And I will be real honest with you guys. I developed the app for those who just, really need that information put in front of them in a way, while not everyone has those same instincts and confidence that I have when I see results. So I can do a really quick skim of sold results, and I don't need to dig deeper. The Profit Predictor gives you that deeper information, and it encourages you to price higher based on what those what those sellers are doing that, or not doing in most cases, that you do, that gives you more value and can price your stuff higher. Oh, they want a tip for not hoarding. Now, we don't call it hoarding in the online seller world, okay? We call it e-hoarding. It's different. It's prettier. So she says, I've looked stuff up in the field and bought because of solds, but didn't get it listed for several months or more later. I saw prices dropped. Yep. List the stuff. Absolutely. And that was her tip for not e-hoarding. Yes. Thank you for that. That is, oh, did I not mention that? Of course, Dawn will be at More Fun, Bigger Profits too. Yes, she will. Absolutely. Oh, the Flow app is for Amazon. Yes, that is Amazon Flow is the name of the app. F-L-O-W. E-storage. I like e-storage too. All right, you guys. You know what? We can continue the questions over on the Facebook group. And again, Dawn, thank you so much for being here. You are such a valuable asset to the Danny app, and as well as to everyone with all of the awesome stuff you put out. And they're all saying thank you as well. And with that, you guys, let me just make sure there wasn't something I was else supposed to tell you. I lost my notes. No, I'm good. I'm good. All right. As I said, tomorrow, please be ready. Bring an example item, a UPC code. It would help if there's something that I need to see pictures of. Perhaps post that over on the Danny App Facebook group before we get started tomorrow, just so I have those pictures ready to go and can pull them up. We are going to do some live research, pricing type stuff. Let's get you guys making the big bucks. We can talk about niche. We can talk about how things fit together. Whatever those questions are, tomorrow's your day. Bring that stuff, and we have another special guest tomorrow. We will have Kat Simpson, who many of you know, who, she doesn't talk a lot about it, but she is doing phenomenal things with both Amazon, and she multi-channel fills eBay orders. She's done some wholesale items and has a very niche site that most people don't know about. So we're going to talk to her, bring your questions for her. And with that, everyone, thank you so much for staying to the end. And now go be profitable and make it fun. We'll see y'all here tomorrow, same time. Bye-bye.